Welcome to Wayne Allyn Root Show.
Good to see you again, man. How's everything going in Viva Las Vegas?
He loves Israel. He loves our country.
I'm always ready to fight, Gary. Always ready to fight.
One of the most popular hosts.
You are my Superman. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's got radio, he's got television, he's got a beautiful wife.
We are under invasion at the border.
This is the kind of thing he talks about because he's about common sense.
Make faith and belief in country cool again.
You are truly a breath of fresh air. Your fans love you.
Thank you very much. And they love you too. And for good reason, because you have a spirit and you get it at the same time. You're both angry, but a happy warrior nevertheless. Wayne Allyn Root.
I salute you.
Where's Wayne? Where? Where is Wayne Allyn Root? Where the hell is he?
All right. Hello, Mr. President. I am right here. Love you, man. You are the best. All right, Wayne Allyn Root, the root's on fire. Happy July 4th weekend and happy 250th anniversary of the greatest nation in the history of civilization, the United States of America. This is my 199th Top 10 Countdown show on RAV, Real America's Voice TV, by the way. So next week, we celebrate our 200th anniversary. All right, I'm Wayne Allyn Root, your Secretary of War. You've heard of the mainstream media. Welcome to the Wayne Stream Media. I'm the loudest MAGA mouth in the USA, coming to you from Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world, with the fastest show in the history of TV. Reminder, my command central is root4america.com. All my TV shows, all my radio shows, all my podcasts are found there, right at the top of the homepage, plus all my columns and commentaries, root4america.com. I make it easy. I make it simple. It's all in one place. My command central, root4america.com. My email, wayneroot@gmail. Always love to hear from you. I read every email. As always, I hope you're watching my daily 1-hour video and audio podcast, Warzone Live at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Note, that's a new time. Warzone Live, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday at thegatewaypundit.com. or rumble.com or talkred.com. And of course, my new TV show, America Speaks, right here on RAV. It's a call-in show. Now you can speak with me live on national TV. And here's the latest breaking news. America Speaks is now live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So you can call me early, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, on Real America Voice's YouTube channel. You can watch the show. You can call in. You can watch you talking to Wayne. Call in number 800-347-ROOT, 800-347-ROOT, or watch the show on RAV. Repeat at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, 2 times to watch my new show, America Speaks, including live at 6 p.m. Eastern on RAV's YouTube channel. You can also leave a voicemail 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I read voicemails on the air. You can do it right now, 800-347-ROOT. I like to hear what you have to say. Or send me an email at wayneroot@gmail.com, and I read your email on the air. I got about 100 of them overnight. What's on your mind? I want to hear on America's Voice, now live at 6 p.m. Eastern, weekdays on RAV's YouTube channels. Go to YouTube, look up Real America's Voice, and at 6 p.m. Eastern, I pop up, replayed nightly on RAV at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. Now it's time for my opening commentary. It is titled, Supreme Court Just Legalized Stolen Elections and Birthright Citizenship, by the way. No choice now, President Trump. This is a life or death emergency. You must sign National Security Emergency Executive Order for elections. All right, so I have some very bad news, but then I have some really good news. First, the bad news. The Supreme Court did it again. As I keep warning, there's something wrong with 2 of our conservative justices, Chief Justice John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett. I'm telling you, my opinion, they're dirty. They're playing for the other side. They're either total frauds, liberal plants from day one, planted in there to masquerade as conservatives and destroy our agenda and destroy this country by allowing stolen elections and by allowing birthright citizenship, the biggest disaster for America in history. That was their ruling the next day on Tuesday. Monday was the ruling on elections. Tuesday was birthright citizenship is fine and dandy. Or they're working directly for the enemies of America, the deep state, the Chinese Communist Party. Maybe they're being blackmailed as opposed to bribed. Maybe they have something on them, our enemies. Either way, Roberts and Barrett aren't on our side. On both Monday and Tuesday, they proved that. And the way they do it is brilliant. They did it on both Monday and Tuesday with the two big Supreme Court votes. They don't vote against us all the time. That would be too obvious. They do it just enough in crucial situations and in crucial decisions to avoid anyone questioning their integrity. Not me, because I question it, but most people don't. They vote with us on most decisions. They look like conservatives. Then they choose the absolute biggest rulings of our time to vote against us. And I've been saying this for years. Brilliant. If I was an undercover liberal plant on the Supreme Court, making believe I was a conservative and taking bribes from George Soros or the Chinese Communist Party, or if I was blackmailed, that's exactly how I do it. I'd vote conservative 90% of the time, but on the important issues and decisions that destroy America and the Republican Party, I'd side with the liberal justices. That's how I'd earn my bribe. Just a few decisions placed in the right spot that matter while looking like a good guy 90% of the time. Monday's Supreme Court decision was one of the worst of all time, only beaten by Tuesday's decision on birthright citizenship. Unbelievable. On Monday, the Supremes, in all their wisdom, legalized rigged and stolen elections. They voted 5-4 that Election Day no longer matters. They ruled that it's okay to let Democrats keep voting for days or weeks or however long it takes. In California, that might be months, until they get whatever desired result they want. They just keep counting till they win. The Supremes legalized the worst and most obvious scam in U.S. election history. Democrats don't have the support of the people, real, legitimate American voters. They lose most of the time with real voters. So the key to overcoming the votes of real Americans is to steal elections with fake votes. How do they do that? It's simple. Wait until election night and see the final vote tallies at the end of election night. If a Republican candidate is up by, say, 25,000 votes, say Wayne Root is up by 25,000 votes at the end of election night, then Democrats spend the next 5 days or 7 days or 10 days, or in the case of California, weeks or months, manufacturing enough fake mail-in ballots and illegal alien ballots to beat the Republican victory margin, and they beat Wayne Root. Just find 30,000 extra Democrat votes out of thin air long after the election ends, and presto, Democrats magically win. And of course, the more time Democrats have to play this crooked game, the better it looks. With days or weeks to get the job done, they can slowly make the GOP lead evaporate, drip, 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 by a few thousand fake ballots here and a few thousand fake ballots there. And they do it slowly, and eventually they win. At the end of days of counting, Democrats win close, and it doesn't look too obvious. To rig and cheat and steal elections, these are the four things Democrats must have. This is the ingredients in their pie. Number one, mail-in ballots. Easy to commit fraud. Number two, no voter ID. Makes it easy to commit fraud. Number three, no proof of citizenship. Makes it easy for illegals to vote. And number four, endless days to count after Election Day. Add it together, it's a toxic brew. The Supreme Court, with the help of Roberts and Barrett, just made the whole scam work. They made the whole scam legitimate. But don't despair just yet, because here's the great news. The decision was so terrible, such a disaster for America, such an obvious scam, that President Trump will be outraged and forced to do what I've been loudly urging him to do for months now. And I urged him to do it on Steve Bannon's show, right? Declare a presidential national security emergency for elections. And later on this show, I'll show you my interview. I was on Steve Bannon's show, and I pitched and pushed this national security emergency for elections. There is no longer any choice. President Trump has got to act now. He's got to act fast, like today, or the midterms will be stolen. Stop worrying and freaking and screaming about the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act isn't happening. As I've warned for months, it's too late. We don't have the votes to pass it. We don't have the votes to suspend the filibuster. They call it the talking filibuster, I believe. We're never going to make that happen. The SAVE Act is dead. Admit it. Just let that sink in. It's as dead as Joe Biden's brain. And even if by hook or crook or sudden miracle, the GOP Senate had a change of heart and passed the SAVE Act, it would be instantly challenged in court by Mark Elias and his team of Democrat, in my opinion, communist traitor lawyers, and tied up for a year or longer, so it could never be effective for the upcoming midterms. So it's fruitless. This is a fantasy. There's only one answer now, only one choice, the one that I've been preaching from the highest mountain for months. right here on Top 10 and everywhere else. My podcast, my radio show, my other TV shows. A presidential national security emergency for elections. The really great news is it's better than the SAVE Act. Forget the SAVE Act. This is better. It's the SAVE Act on steroids, Trump style. It's everything Trump likes. It's got everything the SAVE Act has and a lot more. It has voter ID. Trump likes that. Proof of citizenship. Trump loves that. Severe limits to mail-in ballots. Trump loves that. An end to machine voting. Paper ballots. It mandates paper ballots. Trump loves that. And now Trump can add no counting of ballots past election night. Here's a concept the Supremes are either too corrupt or stupid or blackmailed to understand. Forget about the rigging and cheating and stealing enabled by counting for days past election night. Set that aside for a moment. It's even simpler than that. If anyone in America can't get their vote or ballot in by election night, they're too stupid to be allowed to vote. But Trump has to act now. There are only 4 months to go before the midterms, and states will need to implement all these changes. You may be asking, why? Why is Trump's EO? Why wouldn't it be challenged by Democrat lawyers and tied up in court just like the SAVE Act? Why is this so different, Wayne? Well, because it can't be challenged. As I've been shouting from the highest rooftops for months, the Supreme Court already ruled on this in 1983. There is nothing Democrat lawyers can do. It can't be challenged. It's a national security emergency, and the Supremes ruled in 1983 these cannot be challenged in court. They can only be overturned by a 2/3 vote in both houses of Congress, and Democrats don't have the votes. So it will be the law. Do it, President Trump. Do it today. You have no other choice. The GOP Senate will never pass the SAVE Act, I should say, in time to save the midterms. And this terrible Supreme Court ruling just forced your hand. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. The Supremes have left you no choice. You must take the ball into your own hands. Thank you, Justices Roberts and Barrett, for making it so clear to President Trump there's no other choice. Now watch Democrats lose their minds, watch their heads explode when they realize the solution that I have preached and lobbied for many months is foolproof. This is the solution to end rigged elections, and Democrats cannot stop it. Wait till you see my interview with Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon agrees. He's excited. All right, sponsor, Zecha Genesis Medicine is the sponsor of this segment and this show, main title sponsor. They're a biotech company. They've been developing medicines to treat Parkinson's disease, reverse type 2 diabetes, and to grow new blood vessels in the heart, to reverse heart disease, which is going to kill 30% of everyone who's watching the show right now. Zecha now has a new breakthrough to potentially reverse chronic pain. More than 50 million Americans suffer from chronic pain. Their medications could lessen or eliminate pains such as neuropathy, back pain, or migraine headaches. Data shows at least 10% of everyone watching right now suffers from severe back pain alone. To get this medicine to market, they're seeking investors to fund more medical research studies. Zecha is offering investors a royalty of 50% of cash received till they reach 10 times their investment. And after 48 months, for any investor who's not happy for any reason, Zecha will pay them back 2 times their initial investment. If you're interested in learning more about this investment opportunity, go to the website they created just for my fans, cure-war.com. That's cure-war.com. Wouldn't it be great to make money and help cure diseases at the same time? Go to cure-war.com. We'll be right back. I'll start America's Top 10 Countdown. All right, now we start America's Top 10 Countdown. I'm Wayne Allyn Root. The Root's on fire. My website, rootforamerica.com. My email, wayneroot@gmail.com. And I want to make sure I say again to everybody, happy 4th and happy 250th anniversary to the great United States of America. All right? Are we ready for countdown number 10? So I didn't even mention, this is a very special show. This countdown is not the latest news of the week that were my top 10. It is the top 10 solutions for how we fight open borders, illegal immigration, birthright citizenship, and illegal aliens, Democrats using illegal aliens to steal elections, all of that, and deportations, all of it wrapped into one. My solutions about illegal immigration. Number 10, remember when Biden hired 85,000 new IRS agents? Did Trump fire them all? I still don't know. That was one of my better ideas during the 2024 presidential campaign. I urged Trump to fire 85,000 IRS agents and use the money to hire 85,000 new ICE agents. And it's unclear if any of that was ever done. But I've had a change of heart. Let's keep them or rehire the 85,000 IRS agents. And now you're going, Wayne, have you lost your mind? But with only one job, one role in mind. Go after illegal alien non-citizens. A new division of the IRS called the Illegal Alien Tax Compliance Division. Are illegal aliens paying income taxes? I will be willing to bet you 90% are not. And if they don't pay taxes, arrest and deport them for financial crimes against the United States of America. Trust me, they're not paying income taxes. 90% of them don't pay a dime. They are here to milk the system and rob from taxpayers. And once the word gets out that the IRS is hunting illegal aliens and collecting back taxes with interest and penalties that no one could afford, millions will choose to self-deport. Bye-bye, adios, arrivederci. Countdown number 9. Reparations for middle-class American-born citizens. Our government has screwed you royally. We spend $500 billion per year on illegals. That's $5 trillion every decade added to the national debt, which could destroy your children's future. Here's how we repay the American people. Turn every American into a whistleblower. Pay rewards and bounties to U.S. citizens for reporting illegal aliens at their home and work to ICE. You see them at work, you see them at home, you see them in your office building, you see them in your neighborhood. Make the call, give a tip, provide your name, and after ICE arrests and deports them, you get paid a reward for being a whistleblower. Just like my buddy Brad Birkenfeld, who turned in the names on a disc of 15,000 tax cheats who have Swiss bank accounts outside the United States so they can avoid paying U.S. income taxes. Well, guess what? The IRS declared him a whistleblower, paid him $100 million as a down payment, and they've paid him, now they owe him $1 billion. They paid him several $100 million more. It'll add up to $1 billion. I suggest a few $1,000s to each American whistleblower for each illegal you turn in, and $5,000 when you turn in one with a criminal record here in the United States. $10,000 if you turn in a murderer, a rapist, a drug trafficker, a pedophile, a sex trafficker. Turn all of you into bounty hunters like the old Wild West and turn the illegals into hunted criminals to make them self-deport and get the hell out of here. Countdown number 8. Versus the stick. I already told you the stick, right? We're hunting you down, but here's a carrot. Offer every illegal alien $5,000 per person, plus a free flight out of the United States to self-deport. Sounds like a lot. $20,000 we pay a family of 4, but it's actually cheap. It's a bargain. We'll save billions. Each family costs us, in my math, at least $150,000 a year in welfare, food stamps, free housing allowances, earned income tax credits, plus $40,000 per pupil in our public schools. That's at least $150,000 a year per family. That's $1.5 million every decade per family. I think probably more like $2 million. You want to pay $20,000 once to get rid of them, or $1.5 to $2 million every 10 years. You decide. Plus, it's enough money to convince millions of illegals to self-deport, saving us billions in costs to pay ICE to hunt them down and deport them. We save all that. We don't want mass deportation anymore. I want mass self-deportation. Countdown number 7. President Trump must add to at the end of every comment, every speech, every press conference, every social media post, he must say at the end of it, any illegal who votes in the midterms will be identified, hunted down, and deported immediately out of the United States. Repetition, one of Trump's biggest rules of success. Keep saying it till it sinks into the consciousness of every illegal and makes them think twice about casting a ballot. If you vote in the midterms, adios. You're going to be deported instantly. Countdown number 6. Well, stealing is the ultimate form of appreciation. right? Let's steal from Mexico, copy their voting system. It can't be racist if our system looks exactly like Mexico's voting system. They have photo ID issued by the government and a thumbprint, or you can't vote. And you can only vote in one language, Spanish. We should do all that and say you can only vote in English and declare a national holiday on the first Tuesday of November, 1 day voting only. Every American gets the day off, no excuses. You vote on that one day or you don't vote. Countdown number 5. One of my favorite ideas of all time, lie detector tests and forensic audits of the judges and politicians who are protecting the illegals. Sick armies of IRS auditors on every Democrat insurrectionist judge and every Democrat communist politician who fights for open borders and preventing deportations. They're on the take from the Mexican drug cartels. I know it in every cell of my body. My gut is never wrong. As you all know, I've made thousands of predictions for the last 11 years on radio and TV, and they're pretty much all right. Every Democrat politician and judge in America is on the payroll of China or the Chinese Communist Party or the Mexican drug cartels. It's not a stretch. Look at the 1930s and 1940s in America. The mob owned all the politicians and judges in New York. It's happening today. All right, this segment has been sponsored by Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, the golden age of Trump prosperity, all about making America the energy capital of the world. Enter Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, headed by oil and gas legend Mark Brunner, whose companies have created more than $15 billion in shareholder value. At its peak, his company, Pinnacle Energy, grew about 100 to 1 for investors. You put in $1, you got back 100. You put in 1,000, you got back 100,000. And Ultra Petroleum soared 1,000 to 1, a $10,000 investment turned into $13 million over 10 years. Could you be patient enough to wait 10 years to turn 10,000 into 13 million? That's a nice retirement. But Lost Soldier could be much larger than Ultra Petroleum, with what could be the largest gas discovery in the United States in 100 years, says Mark Brunner confidently. It's a 40,000 acre territory in Wyoming that took 40 years to piece together. The first 4,000 feet drilled so far, estimated to contain up to 6 trillion cubic feet of gas. I said trillion. Management forecasts at the first 25 wells alone are going to produce 400 million cubic feet per day of natural gas, and by 2035, targeted production of over 1 billion cubic feet per day. The surge in AI data centers is placing soaring demand on energy resources. This is how we power the AI future of America with inexpensive, clean natural gas. To learn more about Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, go to lostsoldier.com, fill out the contact form. That's lostsoldier.com. Up next, a great interview, and then we go into the Final Four, otherwise known as Root Madness. And the interview is me with Steve Bannon. We'll be right back. All right, I was a guest this week on War Room. Perfect show for me, right? I'm War with Steve Bannon, discussing my idea for President Trump to declare a national security emergency for elections. Here's our conversation. Yes, and it's kind of similar, Steve, to what I pitched to President Trump in 2019. In 2019, President Trump could not get Congress to fund the wall. No matter what he did, Congress would not give him any money to fund the wall. So I wrote a column at the Gateway Pundit, Jim Hoft's great site, and I sent it to President Trump, and I had one of my great buddies who sits next to President Trump at Mar-a-Lago all the time, hand it to him, and President Trump read it in front of him, and the next day he announced it. What I said was that you need a national security emergency on the border, and that will allow you, that will give you the right to grab the money from the Pentagon budget and use it to build the wall without getting Congress's approval. And obviously, it was never taken to court. Nobody sued. It was never knocked out. It was automatically done. And he built the wall because I knew at that time what I know now, that national security emergency, Steve, cannot be challenged in court. That was a 1983 ruling by the Supreme Court when Reagan was president. If you declare a national security emergency, president does. The only way for Democrats to overturn it is to get a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. And of course, no one is going to get a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. It's not possible. It can't happen. So President Trump got his wall, and that was my idea. Now I've come up with a similar idea.
But hang on. Where is this codified that if he declares a national security emergency, the courts, it's impervious to court challenge, but you need from the legislature 2/3? Is that laid out in the ruling in 1983?
Yeah. I don't have the name of the ruling in front of me, but believe me, I researched it. John Goodman is my election researcher, and he did the research, and it's a 1983 ruling, and the Supreme Court ruled only way that you could possibly overturn a national security emergency by the president, a declaration by the president, is a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. So then I wrote months ago, this is starting in March. This is not new, Steve. I've been pounding this one since March. So 4 months now, I've been screaming on TV, on radio, on podcasts, a national security emergency on elections. Forget the SAVE Act. The Senate is not going to pass it. We have rhinos in the Senate. You can't get 50 votes. If you could get 50 votes plus the vice president, you'd still need to suspend the filibuster. You'd need a talking filibuster. They don't have the votes to do that either. You're just pounding sand. All these people I keep saying, SAVE Act, SAVE Act, Save America Act. Even President Trump, I'm telling you, you're not going to get the SAVE Act. And even if you did, this is the key point, because I love the SAVE Act. I would do anything to get the SAVE Act. But if you did somehow, by a miracle of God, by Houdini, by David Copperfield, pull a rabbit out of a hat, and at the last minute get the SAVE Act passed by the Senate, you would then get Mark Elias and his Democrat communist traitor lawyer team to immediately sue in court, and immediately courts would freeze it, and it would never be in place by the midterms. It would take a year or longer to litigate in court. So all the people screaming about the SAVE Act, I'm on their side, but they're in a fantasy, Steve, because the minute it's passed, it's challenged in court, and it's never going to be in effect for the midterm. So you're just blowing smoke right now. No one's going to pass it. But this is, my idea is the SAVE Act on steroids, Trump style. This is Trump style. This is a national security emergency for elections, just like the national security emergency for the border that I invented out of whole cloth. I mean, I just came up with it. I woke up from asleep one day and I said, this is a good idea. And then I was the lead speaker at the Wyoming GOP annual dinner in 2019. And I told him my idea for a national security emergency at the border. I said, if you agree with this idea, clap, let me know. I got a standing ovation. 500 people in the room stood up and went wild for it. So that's when I pitched it to Trump. I'm telling you, I've got it again. This is the solution. National security emergency for elections that can't be overturned, unlike the SAVE Act, which could be challenged in court and frozen until it's decided by the Supreme Court. And as you found out today, you don't even know if you're going to win in the Supreme Court a year from now or 2 years from now. It will not help the midterm. Stop talking about the SAVE Act and do a national security emergency for elections, which is the SAVE Act, which contains everything that's in the SAVE Act, Steve,
okay.
And more, more.
What is there was clearly a national security issue at the border in 2019, 2010, and President Trump has stopped that in his second term. What is the national security emergency you predicate this on? And then what is actually in the executive order that makes sure that we have a free and fair election in November, sir?
So the number one thing you'd predicate it on is foreign interference in U.S. elections. And there's two parts to that. Number one, illegal aliens are voting all over the United States. We all know it. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. The only reason we ever lose in Nevada, everyone I know here, it's a very red Republican state, but it's a borderline purple state. Thank God we do have a Republican governor now, and a Republican lieutenant governor and a Republican controller, and Trump won Nevada in the last round in 2024. So we're making some headway because every Republican in California is moving here. They're running for their lives and moving to Las Vegas. So we're becoming more Republican. But we've been losing elections because we give illegals the right to get a driver's license. When they get a driver's license, motor voter, which was passed on the federal basis by Bill Clinton, allows them to automatically register to vote. They don't even have to say anything, and they can't turn it down. Automatically register to vote at DMV, and then the Nevada legislature, which is all Democrat, codified it, and they said you can't even turn it down. So every illegal that gets a driver's license in Nevada automatically is registered to vote. There's 19 states plus DC where illegals are registered to drive, and I guarantee you they're all registered to vote and they're voting. Why wouldn't you? If you vote Democrat, you get to stay in the country. If Republicans win, you get kicked out. So of course they're all voting, and of course they're all voting Democrat. So we have foreign interference in American elections, number one, through illegal aliens voting. What could be more foreign interference than Mexico and other countries sending their own citizens here to determine our elections? And number two, what you said at the beginning of this interview, Steve, that's what ties it all together. If President Trump can finally prove that 2020 really was stolen in foreign countries, that's foreign interference in American elections. All of that leads to this executive order, and the executive order would include everything that's in the Save America Act. And additionally, it would demand no more machines and paper ballots. So it's a supernova of the Save Act. It's better than the Save Act.
And I believe that there's going to be very strong evidence to support the executive order. Your calling a national security emergency will have a very strong predicate upon that. Now, let me ask you, why can't, just explain to the audience again, given he shows evidence of foreign interference in many different ways. Mm-hmm. He then declares a national security emergency about the elections in the United States. He signs a national security executive order to that lays out in the predicate what the emergency is and then lays out what his solution for that emergency. Tell the audience again, why can't Mark Elias just run into court like he did? Mark Elias just took on the chops this morning on the election situation. But as you know, he's got a lot of money in back of him. He's got a team of lawyers. He's going to run into court right away, Wayne. What's to stop him again?
This is not a traditional EO. It's not a typical EO. It's a national security emergency. When you use those three words, national security emergency, it triggers the Supreme Court ruling in 1983 that said you cannot challenge in court a national security emergency. And by the way, as I said at the beginning of this interview, when I came up with this idea for national security emergency for the border in 2019 and Trump adopted it, nobody challenged it. It was never challenged, and Trump did exactly what I said. He took the money from the defense budget to build the wall instead of waiting for Congress, never challenged by the Mark Eliases of the world or any other Democrat group or constituency or lawyer. So I think for that very reason, but now I'm just telling you, 83 ruling by the Supremes, it's already in the law, in the books. You cannot challenge a national security emergency in court. It has to be overcome only by a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress, the House and the Senate, and they don't have the votes. This is the way to get it through, A, and B, to make sure no challenges. So it's useful for this midterm, or we are going to lose the midterms. All right, hope you enjoyed my conversation with Steve Bannon on War Room. Up next, Final Four, otherwise known as Root Madness. But first, a quick word from John Jubilee of Energized Health. Wayne Allyn Root here with John Jubilee, owner and founder of the Energized Health program. When I joined Energized Health 6 years ago, it changed my life. Since then, John has been a regular guest on all my shows, sharing their breakthrough science of intracellular hydration. John, your program changed my life, and more importantly for me, expanded my career, and it became really just, it reversed aged me. It became my fountain of youth. And many people are now using your program along with the GLP-1s, the weight loss drugs, Ozempic, Mounjaro, and all of them. Explain how Energized Health is working alongside these weight loss drugs, a perfect synergy.
Well, how we do that, Wayne, is weight loss is one thing, but with every weight loss drug that there is, all the families of weight loss drugs, they also come with the weight loss of our healthy lean muscle and our healthy hydration, which is the weight we don't want to lose, right? We don't want to lose that and get sarcopenia or osteoporosis. So at Energized Health, we guarantee you will gain your hydration and you will gain your lean, healthy muscle mass while you're losing your visceral and subcutaneous fat. That's why it's kind of the match made in heaven, Wayne, that they don't get the two negatives that come with the GLP-1s.
Perfect synergy. Energized Health's protocol targets the root cause of many ailments and diseases and helps people get off their medications and lose their fat fast. Explain.
Yeah, well, all of medical science is trained to go after the symptom. So here's a symptom, here's a drug. Here's a symptom, here's a drug. At Energized Health, we don't look at the symptom. We look at the root cause. The root cause of 99.9% every illness and disease, one thing is inflammation. And just like when you walk into a room and turn a light on, darkness cannot exist. When you put intracellular hydration in a human body, inflammation cannot exist. And so that's why we've reversed thousands of illnesses and diseases with our breakthrough patent pending science of intracellular hydration.
All right, it's a great program. It's an amazing program. It changed my life. I'm Exhibit A. Thank you, John. I've got a new TV show thanks to you. I'm being 65 years old. I'm turning 65 years old this July, and I got a new TV show unheard of in the annals of TV history. You get 40% off and go on the same journey as me when you go to EnergizedHealth.com and just say WAR when you speak to them for Wayne Allen Root. 40% off, and you go on the same journey. I hope it anti-ages you. I hope it's your fountain of youth. God bless all of you. EnergizedHealth.com, promo code WAR. The Root's on fire. Wayne Allen Root. This is a very special show, as you know by now. I'm just talking about the top 10 ways, solutions that we can solve this horrible open borders, illegal immigration, deportation, illegals voting in elections problems, right? A lot of problems all revolving around illegal aliens. Number one problem in the United States of America, and this is the final four. This segment of the show sponsored by VRA, Vertical Research Advisory. Here's an alert for middle-class Americans. Investing in stocks isn't just for rich people anymore. Kip Herriage left the highest levels of success on Wall Street to help mom and pop investors 23 years ago with his amazing investment newsletter, VRA. His goal was to help the little guy and gal, average middle-class American investors, hit returns like the rich guys do with their hedge funds, except even better, even higher returns. Since then, his top-performing recommendations have beaten the market just under 90% of the time, 19 out of 22 years. Meanwhile, Barron's reports the average Wall Street money manager loses to the market 90% of the time. Kip wins almost 90%. The big shots on Wall Street lose 90%. But Kip's not just beating the market. He's often beating the market by a mile. His daily newsletter portfolio was up 35.7% last year, over 27% in 2024, and over 50% in 2023. How do you like those numbers? Can you do those numbers on your own? I don't think so. I'm a witness. Kip's been a close friend all these years, and I've read his email newsletter every morning for 23 years. He is amazing. Facts matter. The fact is the VRA portfolio beats the market in good and bad years. When the market's up, when the economy's up, Kip's up. When the market's down or the economy's down, Kip's still up. Kip is the Nostradamus of Wall Street. He's got a crystal ball, and he's my personal financial advisor. Let Kip prove it to you for free, exclusively for my fans. Kip is offering his daily VRA investment letter completely free for 2 weeks. Join now at VRAinsider.com. So listen up, middle-class America. You have no risk. What are you risking here? What do you got to lose? Nothing. It's 100% free for 2 weeks. Then once you join, it's very inexpensive. And the results are one of a kind. Now you can win like the wealthy investors on Wall Street for a fraction of the cost. Get your free 2-week membership at VRAinsider.com. Check it out, and I believe you'll stay for life. All right, so it's Final Four time, and I've got a bonus, as I have a lot lately. I can't even keep it to 4 in the Final Four. It's usually 5 or 6. Bonus baby number 4A. So here's our solutions, right, to this illegal immigration mess. Ban illegal aliens from being counted in the census. If we can do this, the 2030 census will hand us huge increases in electoral votes and seats in Congress. And when I say us, I mean the GOP, for decades to come. All the power of the Democrat Party comes from importing and welcoming tens of millions of illegals into our country. It's called the Great Replacement. It gives them power and money and seats in Congress and electoral votes that they don't deserve. Talk about living on stolen land. The entire Democrat Party, the entire Democrat Senate, the entire Democrat House live on stolen land. These are stolen seats based on illegal aliens who should not be counted in the census. All right, countdown number 4 of the final 4. All right, so this one ties into using the census to dominate elections for decades to come. The next U.S. Census is in 2030. So we've got the rest of 2026, we've got all of 2027, all of 2028, and all of 2029. 3 full years to get my idea done. This is one of my favorite ideas of all time. I'm going to announce it right here on the show for the first time. President Trump should declare a national capital gains tax holiday for home sales. Only principal residents, not your second home, your third home, your fourth home, not a commercial property, just the main home you live in, your principal residence. I want Trump to suspend capital gains taxes on any sale for the next 36 months, which gets the whole housing market moving and opens up more homes for young people. They're always complaining there aren't enough homes. And what does this really do? It unlocks millions of homes owned by Republicans in blue states like California and New York, who will now get a chance for a once-in-a-lifetime 3-year window to sell their home and move to a red state. They all want to do it. They just can't afford to do it. They don't want to pay the capital gains taxes. So now millions can take advantage. The whole California wants to move to Texas or Florida or Nevada, where I live, Las Vegas, or Tennessee or South Carolina or North Carolina. Let's give them a reason. Sell your home and save tens of thousands of dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars because you won't have to pay capital gains taxes on your home sale for the next 3 years. And you get a new life in a red state with lower taxes and normal people around you who aren't woke, retarded, America-hating communists. Millions will move before 2030 without this. With this idea, tens of millions might move. The census will award even more electoral votes and even more seats in Congress to the GOP. It will be a tsunami. The whole nation will be moving to red states. Biggest migration in history, all because of my idea. And the GOP will cement our majority forevermore. Suspend nationally the capital gains tax for selling your principal residence. Hope you're listening, President Trump. Countdown number 3. All right, magical number 3. Turn mass deportation into mass self-deportation. You know, Obama had something called Operation Checkpoint, and he went after good people, honest, legal, small businesses to put them all out of business. I want a new Operation Checkpoint for illegals. Cut off all their money. Ban them from the U.S. financial system. Choke them out from the financial system. Choke them out of the system so they'll have an impossible time surviving in the United States. Ban bank accounts. Ban mortgages. Demand landlords ask for proof of citizenship. Now they not only can't buy a home, they can't rent a home. Okay, no welfare or food stamps. No health care unless you have proof of citizenship. Your kids can't go to public schools unless proof of citizenship. Stop with the driver's license. No driver's license issued unless proof of citizenship. No car insurance. The insurance company's got to ask for proof of citizenship. Cut off earned income tax credits unless they have proof of citizenship. And tax remittances at 100%. Remittances meaning sending money overseas, like through Western Union. You want to send $1,000 overseas back to Mexico? Then send $1,000 but pay $1,000 tax. Double the cost. Choke off their lives. Choke off their ability to survive in the United States. Operation Choke Point. And add in IRS agents hunting them down, as I've already told you, and ICE agents hunting them down, and giving them a $20,000 bonus for each family to leave the country. They're all going to go. That's mass self-deportation. Countdown number 2. Number 2 is that no one is above the law. Trump has got to start arresting mayors and politicians and judges who are openly sabotaging federal immigration law or encouraging mass non-compliance from their citizens or tipping illegals off that ICE is coming. These are acts of sedition, treason, obstruction, aiding and abetting criminals, dereliction of duty of sworn officials of the United States. Anyone who helps illegals break the law should be arrested. Start with Zohran Mamdani. Arrest him and deport him. Follow up with Karen Bass, the mayor of LA. They're openly violating the United States Constitution. No one is above the law. Can you or I decide to ignore any federal law we want? Can we decide because we live in a red state we won't follow liberal leftist federal laws? Of course not. Can we decide we don't like taxes or how government uses taxes so we refuse to pay? The IRS would hunt us down, arrest us, and put us in jail for years. LA, Los Angeles, California just did that to a famous comedian. He didn't pay taxes. They're putting him in jail for years. But why? If an illegal alien could choose to ignore any laws they want, if they could pick and choose what they will listen to, why can't all of us? Because that's anarchy. That's insurrection. Arrest any mayor or politician, any governor, any judge who's refusing to comply with federal immigration law, just like George Wallace, the governor of Alabama, when he didn't want blacks to go into public high schools. Send them to Gitmo for trial on treason charges. Set an example. The rest will think twice before they decide to attack or not comply with federal law. Countdown number 1. And of course, number 1 is simple. You heard it in the opening commentary, then you watched me discuss it with Steve Bannon. Trump loves repetition, so I'm going to repeat it. It's the number 1 solution to Democrats using millions of illegal alien voters to steal elections. With the Supreme Court decisions on Monday and Tuesday allowing the counting of ballots after election night and allowing birthright citizenship, we have no choice. Only Trump can save us from the stolen midterms. He needs to declare a national security emergency for elections to include photo voter ID, proof of citizenship, severe limits on mail-in ballots, only old-fashioned absentee ballots allowed, no more machine voting, mandate paper ballots, now add in no votes counted past election night. And it cannot be challenged in court, as I keep telling you, by Mark Elias and his, in my opinion, communist traitor lawyer pals trying to destroy the United States, in my opinion. Only a 2/3 vote by both houses of Congress can overturn a national security emergency, and that will never happen. So we will win the midterms, and we will win the presidency in 2028, and then we get to control the census, and then we dominate politics in America for decades to come. God bless America. Happy July 4th. Happy 250th anniversary of this great country. See you next week for our 200th anniversary show. God bless you. God bless Trump. God bless America. And as always, viva my tax-free Las Vegas.
Where is Wayne Allen Root? Where the hell is he?